Moving on to the details now, India has condemned airstrikes, killing of innocent women, children and cricketers in Afghanistan by Pakistan at the United Nations Security Council. Now, speaking at the UNSC briefing on the UN assistance mission in Afghanistan today, India's permanent representative to the UN, Parvataneni Harish, also expressed concerns over practicing of trade and transit terrorism with people of Afghanistan by cynical closure of access for a landlocked country.
And condemns the killing of innocent women, children and cricketers in Afghanistan. We add our voice to calls for paying full respect to the United Nations Charter and international law, with particular attention to protection of innocent civilians. We also note with grave concern the practice of trade and transit terrorism that the people of Afghanistan are being subjected to by the cynical closure of access for a landlocked country whose people are suffering numerous debilitating conditions since many years. These acts are in violation of WTO norms. Such open threats and acts of war against a fragile and vulnerable LLDC nation trying to rebuild in difficult circumstances constitute a blatant violation of the UN Charter and international law. While we condemn such acts, we also strongly support the territorial integrity, sovereignty, and independence of Afghanistan. India continues to closely monitor the security situation in Afghanistan. The international community must coordinate efforts towards ensuring that entities and individuals designated by the UN Security Council, the ISIL and Al-Qaeda and their affiliates, including the Lashkar-e-Taiba and the Jaish-e-Mohammed, and proxies of the LET such as the Resistance Front, along with those who facilitate their operations, are no longer indulge in cross-border terrorism.
Well, the ambassador also called for a pragmatic engagement with the Taliban. He asserted that a coherent policy of engagement should insensitize policy and positive actions. Envoy Harish informed that India will construct a 30-bed hospital in Kabul's Bagrami district, an oncology center and a trauma center in Kabul, and 5 maternity health clinics. India also continues to extend medical assistance and provide high-quality healthcare treatment to the Afghan nationals. And for more, we have Akshay Tongre joining us on this. Well, Akshay, India has strongly condemned the airstrikes in Afghanistan and, of course, raised a lot of concerns about Pakistan's action as well. At the UNSC briefing also, he expressed concerns on terrorism. Could you tell us more about it?
Well, absolutely. And in fact, the country that has been, has been battered by war, has been battered by non-state actors trying to take over different aspects of governance is and a country that has been considered a place that was run by terrorists is also a country that is now even that country, Afghanistan, that remains economically battered, that remains a victim of terrorism, is also a country that is accusing Pakistan of financing non-state actors, financing terrorism into their borders, financing these kind of terror proxies in their groups that have tried to create terrorism not only in their country but in the neighboring countries as well. And Lubakshi, what we have to understand is that after the Taliban takeover that was supported initially, or rather for a very long time by Pakistan, that was funded by Pakistan for ulterior motives, has not turned out exactly what Pakistan expected it to be. Pakistan expected that after Taliban comes to power, it will help Pakistan in the kind of terror activities that it is involved in. However, what has turned out is somewhat exactly opposite. Taliban regime is more interested in governing the country rather than acting as a terror group like the Pakistani terror groups have been acting like, and that has been an utter disappointment for the Pakistani regime, both the military and the military intelligence, because to be fair, the democratic setup does not work in Pakistan, and that's the reason why what we are seeing is what we are seeing. The kind of attacks against Taliban regime, the kind of attack against Afghan people, the sort of action against the immigrants who had, or rather the refugees of Afghanistan that were living in Pakistan. So range of action that is being taken only because Taliban refuses to join Pakistan and join Pakistani hands as far as terror activities across the world are concerned.
All right. Also, Akshay, the ambassador called for a pragmatic engagement with Taliban, and simultaneously he highlighted several healthcare projects in Kabul, including a hospital, oncology, trauma centers, maternity clinic. A big help for Afghanistan's current humanitarian situation, is it?
Well, Taliban governs Afghanistan. That's a reality. Taliban is the present government in Afghanistan. That's the present regime, largely accepted by people as
Yes.
well. You know what we can say. They are governing the people. We don't have to sit on judgment. What kind of principles they have, what kind of methods they have as far as governing is concerned. But at this point in time, what we have to see is the welfare of the people of Afghanistan. We cannot let the people suffer just because Taliban is governing the state. Even before Taliban came to power, India has been one of the countries that has supported humanitarian efforts, that has supported the setup of democratic, government, including the building of parliament there in Afghanistan, and other kind of humanitarian efforts that have gone for decades. And now Taliban regime has come, but still the people of India remain friends with the people of Taliban. We have had historical traditional ties for centuries, in fact millennia. And now just because Taliban is governing there, and we may have difference in opinion and ideology with Taliban, does not mean we will start airstriking to the people of Afghanistan like Pakistan is doing. Pakistan has been one of the few countries in the world that had supported the return of Taliban. But just because Taliban is not actually dancing to the tunes of Pakistani military generals, it's taking these kind of actions of killing Afghan people. So that is where both the countries, India and Pakistan, differ. While Pakistan continues to kill Afghans, India is trying to take as many progressive as well as humanitarian efforts in the country as possible to ensure that the people of Afghan stay safe, and something is done for their welfare as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Akshay, for all those details.